Media ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead, call it to order.
Call to order. Everybody to stand. Father, bless us for being here and making the right decision for the town. One of the gentlemen want to say pledge allegiance?
Who all say
We all got it.
pledge allegiance
To the
to the
flag,
flag, United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Seated.
Just gonna put this closer so
Oh, sorry.
Next up is approval of the agenda. I did want to make a note that the agenda had a typo. It had January 25th, 2021 on it for the minutes. So we need to amend it with the May 25th. There are no other changes the staff recommends, though.
All right, I vote to amend. Second.
Second?
All right, the call for motion to amend the agenda has been approved. I need a call for motion to amend the agenda to have the date changed, which we've already done. Announce results, ayes got it. Old business, agenda line. Excuse us, gentlemen, this is the first time we've done this. We're rookies and we, nope. All right. So new business, we'll go back to the consideration of special exemption request to approve the use of townhome parcel 02945060008.
Mike, sorry, we got to go back to minutes, and you have to make a motion to approve or deny the minutes at this time.
Okay. Okay. As far as motion to approve the minutes from January 20, from May 25th, 2021 Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. Do I have a second?
Have a second? Yes.
Okay. Motion's been approved.
Oh, you have to call for a vote. Sorry.
All right, guys.
I'll walk you through it.
Thank you.
Okay,
So you'll ask for a motion and then a second, and then
Everybody
you'll
vote.
all vote. And you can do a verbal vote. You don't have to vote one at a time or anything, but you'll have to do that for each item.
Okay, here we go. Call for vote. Everyone agreed?
Okay.
Right.
And then the next item is election of the chairman.
Okay.
So you'll have to call for nominations.
All right, call for nomination. Election of Board of Zoning Appeals Chairman.
I
He's not here.
Yeah, I nominate.
Anybody have any interest in being chair?
We can do it one meeting at a time.
All right,
Nominate Mike.
And then you'll call for any other nominations,
any other nominations?
No.
and then you'll have a
All right.
vote.
Everybody approve as far as me being a chairman? Please say aye.
Yay.
Great.
Now we need to call for election of Board of Zoning Appeals Vice Chairman.
Vice Chairman, yep. Who would like to be the Vice Chairman?
Well, John.
John?
Yep.
Okay,
You're in the right seat. So that's
all right. Call for vote as far as electing John the Vice Chairman? Aye. All right. We'll get it right the next time as far as motion approved. And swearing in.
do that right now.
Okay.
Anybody who's going to be speaking, we have to just do a quick swearing in, so I'll do that. If y'all can stand up, raise your hand. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you're good. All right, and now you can go on.
All right. Back to you guys. All right, consideration of special exemption request to approve the use of townhomes on parcel 02945060008 located at 110 Main Street in the downtown mixed-use district. I look into public comment and since there's no public comment here.
Chris will do a presentation.
Okay.
Maybe. There we go. Good afternoon. Excuse me. All right, so we're here for a special, they're requesting approval for a special exception off of 110 East Main Street to allow for the use of townhomes. Currently, it's just under an acre. It's an undeveloped parcel. At this time, it has one small little pad from a previous project. And so the surrounding properties in the area currently there's a residential around it, and they're all zoned downtown mixed use, except when you get behind the property. That's when you run into your residential area. So you can kind of see everything in blue is your downtown mixed use, and then the yellow behind that's your single family residential zoning district. And then I put the aerial shot on here so you could see that there is a remaining pad from the previous project that will be removed if you guys approve the use of townhomes on this property. These are these are townhomes that are currently across the street. Here you can see there's some brick ones on the other side, and then you have a brick home residential on the left side. And then looking at the property, it goes front to back. So, and then you have on the sides, and then you have the church across the street, and then there's another residential property to the right side of it. So when you're looking to make your decision today, these are the 6 factors you're going to be looking at. And I'm going to go into more detail on the following slides here. So the first thing is the proposed use should be consistent with the comprehensive plan. The downtown mixed-use district is intended to be developed and reserved for village-style or neighborhood-oriented business purposes in conjunction with medium to high-density residential development. Per the housing analysis with the 2019 comp plan, a few standards within the current MZDO handicap cost-effective housing, including minimum lot size, setback, and width, allowing the use of zero lot line homes would encourage infill development, which the proposed subdivision would be classified as. And for some that the zero lot line, for instance, in Margaritaville, that would be like your conch cottages where they're connected. So you don't have that setback on the sides. Then the second thing you're going to be looking at, the proposed use is consistent with the purpose and intent of the zoning district in which it is located. The regulations that apply within the district are designed to encourage the formation and continuance of a stable, healthy, compatible environment for uses that are located to provide nearby residential areas with convenient shopping, service facilities, reduce traffic and parking congestion, and discourage industrial and other encroachments capable of adversely affecting the area. The third one is the proposed use is consistent with any applicable use-specific standards set forth in the ordinance. This use will have minimal adverse impacts on the existing residential areas. As proposed, staff does not believe that that'll negatively impact anything. The land use element of the comp plan encourages attainable housing as part of a broad plan to increase housing choices. This project would bring additional housing options which are needed throughout the city. Additionally, there is the existing parcels that already contain townhomes within the area. The fourth component of this, the proposed use is compatible with adjacent uses. Site design, operating characteristics, you're looking at if there was businesses, hours of operation, traffic congestion, lighting, noise, odor, dust, that sort of thing. Staff believes that the project is compatible with the adjacent uses and will have minimal impacts on traffic. The zoning for the property allows both residential and commercial uses. The adjacent uses are primarily residential. The applicant will be required to provide a lighting and landscape plan at the time that they submit for the site development permit application. They'll also, traffic will be reviewed as part of the site development plan as well. SCDOT is involved in that process. BJWSA is involved, DHEC, fire, police, all of them are involved in the process at the time of site development review. Number 5, any significant adverse impacts anticipated to result from the use of the mitigated or offset the maximum extent practicable. The proposed subdivision will utilize buffers and setbacks from adjacent properties. Additional landscaping and buffering is proposed along the existing residential home to the north as well as throughout the community. As you saw in your packet, they have a pretty good landscape plan that they've already kind of conceptually drawn up. Number 6, the proposed use is appropriately located with respect to transportation facilities, water supply, fire, police protection, waste disposal, and similar facilities. The property zoning designation currently allows residential and commercial uses. And once again, it's located near the police department. Station 81's up the road. They'll have the water, sewer, and other utilities as needed. And we've already got the proposed use will be reviewed further by these agencies that you see up here. And when you are to the point of making a motion, you'll make a motion to approve the application as presented. You can also, if you think that they need more landscaping or whatever the case may be, you can make a motion to approve the application with conditions. Make sure that when you make that motion, if you have conditions, that you name them, be specific with the condition. And then if you make a motion to deny the application, you will need to state the finding of facts must be stated in the motion as to why you've denied the applicant, the application. And at this time, I'll allow the applicant to come up here and answer any questions that you guys have. I did not have it on the slide.
Good afternoon. Willie Powell with Ward Edwards Engineering. We are the civil engineer that's helping Freno look at this site. As Chris mentioned, it is proposed to use townhomes, and townhomes are listed as a conditional land use within the downtown mixed-use zoning district. So which is why we're having to come before you guys, is to allow that conditional land use. One of the drivers that got us to where we are today is that the parcel has an existing sewer main along the back of the property, which is the western part of the property. That sewer main goes back to the 50s or 60s. It did not pop up on any of the early surveys, but when we're looking at it with Buford Jasper, it did jump. And because of that, it renders the back third of the property useless in terms of allowing for other land uses. And so we needed to take any kind of residential density and kind of push it more toward Main Street, which is also what the city would like in terms of having the units closer to the roadway. But it does not allow for the ability to really make a single family detached neighborhood work on the parcel, which is what was attempted the first time around. The slab that you see from the aerial was when it had a little cul-de-sac type design. And what happened is the back 3 or 4 lots ended up being within that sewer easement. There's not enough room to come in off of Main Street, make the turnarounds for the fire marshal, and then get back out on Main Street. We did look at other ideas in terms of bringing fire trucks in with like a horseshoe type design, but it was unable to be workable with DOT. There are some existing curb cuts on that parcel, but we can't make the fire marshal and DOT all come together. And so what we are presenting, we feel, is the best approach for the land use of that property. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of the background as to kind of how we started and kind of where we stand now with the use of the townhomes. So I'm open to any questions we have. Roger Bright with Freno is also here for any questions that you may have in terms of how the site will be used, those kind of items. So.
You know, it might help if you guys had the ability to visualize.
Yes. So this is a site plan. I'll put it like this. What you're seeing to the top of the page is Main Street.
Yep.
Property actually runs more like this from a north-south standpoint. But this part through here, where we have the hammerhead, is where that existing sewer line runs. So we thought it best to use it more for the fire marshal and his turnaround, have stormwater up on this side of it, and then kind of have the two townhome sections closer to Main Street from a walkability standpoint, and also just from having something have a frontage and you know on the Main Street kind of corridor. So
Propose that it looks something like this.
The existing, I think, oak tree that's near Main Street, I guess if you're looking at the property on the left, that'll,
that's that one right back there.
okay, that's not going to be touched.
Correct, that's being maintained. There's one here, there's a couple little clusters right in that area, but
Yeah.
that 30-some inch oak is being retained.
Oh, that's the rear of the property, right?
Correct.
But it wasn't in there in the front, if you, yes, right around there. There was whatever, good 12-inch diameter one.
There's a couple here, there's also, 24 right there. So that's the one that's also being maintained right there on the corner of Main Street.
Okay. And I think there was one on the lower right, that was the largest one I thought I saw.
Okay. There is one, there's a water oak as you get into the property that we were proposing to take out because of its age and proximity to the structures.
All right. So Chris, will somebody, and I don't know who the proper people, when it goes to planning, I mean, somebody will need to
So
approve
we
that?
will review any tree removal request that comes through. And I will say that as far as water oaks go, they're not protected in the city. Those are allowed to be removed through
Okay.
a regular clearing permit. So if that answers that question for
All right.
you.
This is how we visualize the streetscape appearance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't, again, I guess maybe I'm stepping my boundaries here. Will there be
These two buildings face each other, the parking in the
yep,
middle.
and that's the front end, looking at the front, yep. Will there be, I don't know, an HOA or whatever that'll be taking care of maintenance and landscaping and,
Yes, yeah, we'll have to establish an HOA. They will own the road coming in.
Okay.
They'll own any of the storm that's there and any landscaping, streetscape along that area. We
Okay.
also just received this week a lighting plan from Dominion, so it actually has street lights on that roadway as well for security and lighting purposes.
so that's gonna be considered a street?
It
Not-
is, it actually was previously named Harvey Place as part of the last go round, and we're gonna maintain that name
Okay,
and keep it. So, but it'll be a privately owned street. So the HOA will own it, maintain it, and have funding for it going forward.
okay. Last question, for
Okay.
me, for at least for a little bit. Any storage for, trash receptacles and stuff? I mean, what are you thinking the residents will be doing?
So it'll just be rollout containers.
Where are they keeping those?
Um,
I guess is the question.
Roger, again.
Yeah, that's a good question. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't want it to be unsightly for, but,
Yeah, I hear you.
Maybe I'll figure something out, have a little screening area, something like that, to be able to, something, we'll kind of figure that out and have a little,
Well, I appreciate the concern.
Yeah.
I really do. We'll find an answer to that.
Yeah.
We don't want those things to
yeah, I don't think the mayor would like to see that going to work every day. But
Yeah.
You bet. Good comment.
Hey, Chris, how are-
And, and, and then during staff review committee, we do review the screening of that. So that'll be part of our review as well. How trash is going to be handled and how it'll be screened from the right of way.
Yeah. So, I mean, so I know our trash removal is not part of property taxes, so something would have to be done through the HOA to like,
Answer that question if you want.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm late. Brianna Snowden, Planning Director. Was in another meeting. I apologize. throughout the city, when you're not in one of the gated other communities, we do have a contract franchise that we work with people, and they would typically, they get to choose, but they typically go with that one company that,
Right, so each of there's 10 units?
Yes, sir.
So each of the 10 units would have to individually contract?
yes, just like, I mean, but that's typically up and down Main Street. That's the
Yeah,
way, that's.
I mean, I think it's throughout Hardyville. I mean, we have to do the same. So I guess, I don't know, my question, or to make it convenient for the 10 property owners, and just, whatever the HOA may be, just to include the $46 a quarter for the trash removal would be my suggestion, but that's,
Good recommendation.
Yeah.
Noted, sir.
all right.
Do you have any questions?
Any other questions that we can answer?
I know you engineers design the parking spaces or whatever, but you know the distance from sidewalk to sidewalk if you're looking back and forth?
Yeah, so what we did, it's an 18-foot deep parking space, and I think it's a 24-foot wide roadway. So it's 18, 24, 18, so it's 60 foot from face of sidewalk to face of sidewalk, plus 5-foot sidewalks on both sides.
And you think that's enough room to get a pickup truck in and out?
Yes, so long as it's not
Not a regular truck?
well, I'm thinking more like a dually or some type of extended
Yeah.
cab. But no, that's standard amongst all. I mean, the 24-foot wide is per the city regulations for that, so.
I'm just wondering if the developer would consider reducing the footprint a little bit percentage-wise, to have less impervious.
We are, I think, the expectation is that this roadway may end up being more like a pervious roadway because of stormwater. So we're still working through that, kind of getting that answer, but there's a chance that either the parking or the overall thing could end up being gravel or some type of pervious material.
But
So
aside from the impervious, would you consider reducing the overall footprint of your rooftops?
that's really more questions for you guys. It's kind of
No, sir.
Okay.
we're 22 foot wide on the,
45-foot deep.
so.
There's 1,695 square feet finished, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath.
Yeah, take them out.
Microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you all hear me?
Well, it's for everybody
For the recording in the minutes.
My bad.
Television.
I don't remember what I said.
22 by
They're 22 foot wide, 45 foot deep.
1695.
Would you let me finish? I can do this. I really can. They're 1,695 square feet, master bedroom, master bath on the first floor, half bath on the first floor, 2 bedrooms and a loft and a bath upstairs. So they're really well laid out units. I mean, in terms of family living, and there's a loft. So when you're upstairs, you look down into the living room below. That's what they are. Any other questions?
Gentlemen, all set?
Thanks. Oh, there was something on Chris's presentation that just put some, didn't think about previously. Will they be handicap or ADA
Yes. Oh,
approvals?
yeah.
Yeah. That's all
Yes.
that.
They make you do that
Yeah.
stuff. There's no way you get away around that anymore. Yes,
Oh, I'm good.
good.
Yes, sir. For this one I am.
All right. Thank you.
So I call for a motion as far as for the special exception request to approve the use of the townhomes on parcel 0294506-008 located at 110 Main Street in downtown mixed-use district, contingent upon the gentleman as far as answering some of the concerns that we had had during the meeting, especially when it comes to the location of the rubbish barrels. Do I have a second?
Have a second? Yes.
Everybody vote? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have next one. Consideration of variance request to approve vinyl siding for the building wall finish materials for the future townhomes on parcel 0294506-008 located on Main Street. Chris, can you give a presentation?
All right. There we go. All right, so the next request is for a variance to allow for building wall finish materials. In this case, it would be, they're wanting an exception to allow vinyl siding. And these next few slides you've already seen, they were in the previous one. So as you can see, there is already some townhomes that do have vinyl siding within close proximity. So I just wanted to show you guys that on here. And there is some other materials within the area. You see the brick, and there's the church has like the wood slats on it, and the home next to it does as well. So when it comes to granting a variance, you have 5 points you have to meet in order to be able to approve a variance. So I'm going to go through those as well. So like I said, they are requesting a variance to allow vinyl siding as part of their building wall finish material. The development will be reviewed for compliance with the City of Hardyville Municipal Zoning and Development Ordinance and meet the objectives of the comprehensive plan. The use proposed in this application is consistent with the downtown mixed-use zoning. However, exceptions to building wall finish materials shall only be granted by variance through the Board of Zoning Appeals. And that encourages what we're doing now, public hearing. So the first point is there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. And for this piece of property here, there's an existing gravity sewer line along the rear of the property that was uncovered, which isn't on some of the adjacent properties. And due to the location of the existing gravity sewer and surrounding easement, the property is severely limited in its ability to provide adequate fire and emergency access while achieving the lot standards of the MZDO. And this property was previously owned by the City of Hardyville and was sold off to another developer who intended to do attainable housing on this project with single family residential. And that's when they ran into some of these issues that didn't allow them to do the single family portion of it. And then they came in. So the changing demographics indicate that different housing types and neighborhoods may be needed to accommodate the residents of Hardyville. Significant number of lower wage, hospitality, tourism, and retail jobs exist in the county and contribute to the need of affordable housing. In order to provide attainable housing as desired by the housing and land use element of the comprehensive plan, city officials, the proposed use of vinyl siding is necessary and is in character with existing structures in downtown mixed use. The second point is these key conditions do not generally apply to other properties in the vicinity. So once again, as stated above, other properties don't have the gravity sewer line issue running through their property. And this property is a little bit shallower than surrounding parcels fronting Main Street, which forces potential improvements to be closer to Main Street and limits the ability to use the rear portion of this parcel, which has a negative impact design on the single family homes. The proposed use of vinyl siding is in character with other existing structures, the townhomes and some other homes that are down in the residential areas. These conditions are unique to this property and do not apply to others in the area. Number 3, because of these conditions, the application of the ordinance to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. The regulations that apply within the downtown mixed-use district are designed to encourage the formation and continuance of a stable, healthy, and compatible environment for uses that are located as to provide nearby residential areas with that convenient shopping, service facilities, reduce traffic, parking congestion, and discourage industrial and other encroachments. Allowing the proposed building materials is critical to providing attainable housing as desired by the housing and land use element of the comprehensive plan. The authorization of a variance will not be of substantial detriment to adjacent properties or to the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. The proposed use of vinyl siding is in character with other existing building materials on nearby properties and would not negatively impact other existing properties or the district as a whole. The fifth point that you have to hit is special circumstances or conditions exist. Narrowness, exceptional topographic conditions, or the shape of the property that are not common to other areas or buildings that are similarly situated in this area. As stated above, this parcel contains an existing gravity sewer line and easement along the rear of the property. In addition, the parcel is shallower than the surrounding parcels fronting Main Street, which forces the improvements to be closer to Main Street because of the limited ability to work on the rear of the property. The proposed use of vinyl siding is in character with other existing structures in the downtown mixed-use district, and limiting its use for this parcel would negatively impact the ability to provide attainable housing. Once again, you have the option to make a motion to approve this application as presented, approve it with conditions, or a motion to deny the application. Once again, you'll see it findings of fact if you deny the application for approval. So at this time, I will let the applicant come back up here and answer any questions you have for the variance.
Afternoon. I wanted to do two things real quick. I think we beat up the site earlier, but I wanted to show you guys the vinyl that would be proposed on the site. Will I present or approach? Okay. So I think two things to kind of keep in mind. Actually, I'll do three. One is I think vinyl siding's come a long way since this ordinance was first written. 90? When was the DMU ordinance kind of passed? 08?
No, the downtown mixed use came probably like 2010 or so.
Okay. It's been pushing 12. I think I was gonna say I think the vinyl siding's come a long way in that 10, 12 years. So what we're proposing is, I think, a more rigid, sturdier version of vinyl siding versus what you generally think of with vinyl siding. It also would have the beading on it from an architectural standpoint to give it a little more articulation, a little more variance. So that's one thing I want to mention. Number two is the use of the townhomes allows, I mean, there's just a lot of square footage we need to be able to cover, and the vinyl siding really allows that to be a more functional use. But more importantly, this Freno is committed to making this an affordable, attainable housing development in Hardeeville. And so the vinyl siding is a key factor in doing that. You know, I don't even talk about cost, but the vinyl siding is a key piece of allowing an affordable development to come into not only Hardeeville, but to come into kind of the heart of this area of Hardeeville. And I think we've also got one of the things that we talked about early on was the fact that across the street is the church. And while it doesn't register on any of the historic registries, it is a pretty significant structure to Hardeeville. And so we've tried to replicate some of the same looks with the horizontal siding slats, some of the features on top of the windows, some of that areas also tried to replicate some of that church architecture into it. So I think Freno has made a pretty strong effort in trying to, give these townhome units some different looks, some different materials, and trying to use one of the nicer versions of the vinyl siding that are out there. So they're committed to using something like that. So any questions for Roger or anything else?
Yeah, I do. So I was curious, number one, what the width of as far as the exposure was, and this is it?
Mhm.
Yeah. So how does this compare to what I see over at the church? Not necessarily the home, but the church across the street. It appears that that siding is narrower than this,
I think the existing church is a little bit narrower than that.
by,
Yeah.
by at least maybe, I won't say 50%, but
Okay.
close to it. So is there any objection as far as of changing the exposure width? I mean, this to me looks very commercial.
No, we can do a double 4, single 8,
Roger.
a lot of combinations, if you all have a preference.
Yeah. So again, when you did your, I mean, a lot of times you mentioned as far as attainable housing, obviously cost, vinyl is the cheapest way to go. But in comparison
But
to,
recognize the fact that there's brick and stone combinations on all these as well. They're not
I did
all
see
vinyl.
that. I did see that. Now, is that real brick, fake brick? But I mean,
It's that fake brick, yeah.
okay. Was there any, when I drive down the street here, including this building, a number of the buildings here coming down the street have more of a brick look to it than it does. Periodically, you'll see, a home here that has the church, you compare it to the church. Was any thought of maybe making the frontage more of a brick look than?
Well, again, it's, the homes that you're talking about have been here for a long, long
I
time.
know.
When everything was brick back in the days.
I know.
Today, with affordability issues as significant as they are, you don't see much of that anywhere. So relating this development or any current development to the brick look that was here 30 or 40 years ago isn't cost of reality. You can't do it. You can't make them affordable out of all brick.
No, I did say all brick.
Well,
No, I'm just talking
It's,
about,
it's a cost element, and all of us know what costs have been doing for the last
yes, I do.
18 months.
Yeah.
So the use of brick and stuff, we tried to maintain our focus on individuality.
Yep.
So let each one of these owners have their own place. They don't look like barracks. They don't look like row houses. That they maintain individual appearance, and they have stone and
Yeah, you still do have some of the
different sidings, shell siding, bead siding. I mean, they're not all.
No, I know you had shake and vertical. I get that. But I was more concerned about,
some of the, I think some of the, even like the lower water table is I think intended to be some of that brick accent toward the bottom of it.
So the front of the units will have the various colors and
They'd be
material.
just like this.
And those are vinyl siding as well? Okay, so this is the Main Street facing?
Main Street facade.
And we can do that in any combination. If you think double 4s or a 6 instead of an 8 or something, sure, we're flexible with that. We pay architects to do this.
no, I totally understand. I just,
Yeah.
again, this kind of
Sure.
looks commercial where the other would not. I think it would be closer to
Well, I
the
think
church
the
look.
reason we brought that one specifically is because it's a beaded siding, so it looks much more expensive when it's applied because it's got beads to it. So that's why we brought that. That's one of the more top of the line.
Yeah, no, I do understand that. Yeah.
Do you know what thickness your vinyl would be?
The grade?
Oh,
Would you be willing to commit to a certain thickness? I mean, there's a big variation of vinyl siding, and I'm sure you know that.
well, we don't use the cheap stuff. Sure. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say to that. What
I mean, you don't know the
know what
thicknesses?
specific?
I mean, if you did a point of 0.5 mil would be a higher end vinyl as opposed to getting down below 0.04.
For you to know that.
Well, you should know that too.
Well, I don't. I'm sorry to say.
Is the thought for that to be on all the facades or just the Main Street, or does it matter?
I mean, it would matter to me if you're going to use vinyl siding, you ought to use at least good vinyl siding because there's a significant difference between any vinyl siding and then stone, brick, hardy board type
Sure.
sidings. I mean, you're saving a ton of money using vinyl. You ought to at least get some really high-end vinyl.
Well, remember something. The idea here is to not save a lot of money for us, but to save a lot of money for the consumer. The whole goal here is not necessarily what we want to do, but how do we provide affordable housing? That's a difficult task today.
We do realize that, but at the same token, you know, we want something that's going to last
bet.
here too, right?
I appreciate that
Okay.
very much.
If you don't mind, I just want to give, I know Chris briefly touched on the history of this, but I do feel like it's important for the public and the board to be aware of. So the city owned the property years ago. The city sold it to another developer, and with the intention of having an affordable, attainable housing project in the downtown where people can live, work, play, and be able to, like I said, be in proximity, maybe not be relying on a car all the time, and provide some opportunities for home ownership for people that might not otherwise be able to afford that. Unfortunately, that project fell through, which is why there's a slab there. So the the developer who had purchased from the city, then received an offer from Farino Homes to purchase it. So that's kind of how we got here. And I don't know how much you all knew about that before, so I just wanted to bring that up. And that's why Roger keeps talking about affordable housing, is because it had really been on the city's wish list for an affordable housing opportunity. So if you would like to make a motion that is conditional on this 0.05 mil thickness or greater, and or certain other parameter on that vinyl, you are certainly welcome to do that. I would suggest putting a minimum on it so that if they go above and beyond, we're not restricted to that.
And the only question I had regarding also hardship or whatever, and I agree wholeheartedly for the low income, well, affordable housing, sorry. What does your analysis show, say, the vinyl that you're proposing versus hardy board? What would that mean to for the homeowner for a sale price? I mean, you're talking $5,000, I mean, 50,000.
We pay engineers. I want to see how he answers to that. I know the answer to that. Let's see.
My stuff's all buried in the ground. But no, I don't know the answer to that, to be honest with you. I do know that it is significant in terms of trying to make those numbers work and come together. And I think it is in the comma range, not in the 3-4 digit range. It's more than that. I don't know the exact per square foot cost impact it has on it. I don't know if it has a sales price cost. I really can't answer that
It's
question.
about 50 to 60% less
Okay.
than hardy plank or about any other finish, maybe 40. I think the most difficult thing in all the years I've been in this business is knowing what anything costs anymore, from one day to the next. But it is a significant savings. And I'd say maybe 30 to 40% of what a normal finish or siding, any of those that you mentioned. That's the kind of savings degree that vinyl siding brings. We're trying to bring these things in around $200,000, and that's a hard thing to do in today's world. And that's our goal. That's our effort. Well, that's.
And what did you say?
Want to put a certain mill on the siding? I want to be just as concerned about the city's concerns as we are for the home. So, sure.
You said the square footage was 1650,
1695.
1695?
So you doing that calculation?
The just begs the question then, what are you budgeting for to side the homes? The buildings? Any idea what the budget is to do the siding for the home?
No, I don't know.
No.
In the cost sheet, I didn't pull it out individually. I could find that out, but I
No,
didn't.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
do the math of what a 50% higher cost would be.
Well, I think the key is it's significant. And that's the relativity to the siding versus the vinyl versus any other finish. It's the most economical way to.
No, definitely the most economical way. But, yeah. just back to Mike's point, I'm very impressed with the front facing of the townhomes. I just want the Main Street facing to be as impressive as the front.
Well, there's very difficult to do with an end of a building.
Yeah.
The least attractive part of a building is the end.
And to my point,
Try
as
to make
far-
that as nice as we could by turning around, putting a porch on it,
Right.
putting windows on it. All of this effort was all relative to the concern about the streetscape. The staff was very emphatic about it, frankly.
I see two different pictures here. I see one with, at the eve as far as, yes, and I see
Yeah.
another one over there without.
That's why I put this picture up here, because this is really what goes here. This is what they look like.
What do they call the,
Put the fence up. We're gonna do that. We're gonna put that, it will look just like that.
Mhm.
I don't know if the trees will be quite that big or not, but,
they-
and that was a lot of focus from the planning department's focus on trying to do everything we could to make the end of the building as attractive as possible.
Yep.
I think that there was a fence there back in the day originally. So we're gonna put the white picket fence back up.
Are we free to make a motion to approve?
You are.
Okay, I make a motion to approve vinyl siding with no stipulations.
No stipulations?
That's my motion.
well, I'd approve with the stipulation that it's above builder grade.
One second. When order. Okay, so
There's a motion on the table,
Yep.
so you ask for a second, and if there's no second, then the motion
we- yeah,
dies,
right,
and then a new motion.
Yeah, got it. I was going to, yeah. Motion is second. Motion's been denied. You make a motion?
I would approve the vinyl siding that, the grade of the vinyl siding be,
This gentleman seems to know a lot about siding.
0.05, you're okay with being?
yeah,
above builder's
well,
grade?
Let me make a motion. I'll make a motion as far as contingent upon the fact that it's a .05 thickness and the width of the siding, the exposure width of the siding is closer to what is at the church across the street.
Good enough.
Anybody second that motion?
I don't know if this is standard. Looking at grades of vinyl per Google, .5 is what they consider super thick. So I don't know if that's
Realistic.
necessary. I've got builder's grade at .4, thin at .42, standard at .44, thick at .46, super thick at .5, and premium, above .52. So, but I don't know where.
Could we put that stipulation as standard grade?
All right, so we'll redo the motion. We'll make a motion to the thickness be changed to .46, and that the exposure width of the siding is closer to what's at the church across the street. Do I have a second to that motion?
Have a second.
And vote?
we have to talk. We have to do it publicly. Sorry.
Yeah, I'd second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm in favor.
Once we sort all that out, we'll let you know.
Got it.
Next is the planning manager's report. I don't have a ton for this board really right now, but what I do want to let you know is if you aren't aware, we are about midway through a zoning ordinance update. There will be additional public interaction with that project. We do have a website that has surveys on it regarding our current zoning ordinance and what people are looking for. Residents, board members, professionals are looking to see enhanced in the zoning ordinance. and hearing what works and what doesn't work. So that the reason I bring it up is it may have a direct impact on what comes in front of this board in the future as we move forward. So we're hoping to get the final draft by August, but it's a process getting there. So we're just starting to get into it, and we may be reaching out for some.
Will the changes, I've been reading this, so I'm going,
Mhm.
will the changes be noted, highlighted, so that
It'll-
you can,
We're pretty much most of it's starting over. So we will.
oh, okay then.
It hadn't really been. There's been
Jens, thank you. No, appreciate
there have been
your time.
little updates
Thank you.
here and there, but it really hasn't. It was adopted in 2008, and it needs refreshing with time. So, so we'll be working on that, and you'll see on our website and social media and everything that we are putting out updates on that periodically. So, just wanted to bring that to your attention, and I know we had a little bit of a rocky start, but I think you'll get the hang of it. So,
We get
not
it.
a problem.
Yeah,
You've
we
got
get
this.
Now, obviously, a lot of the questions we may have. So how do we approach this going forward? Because a lot of the questions we may have may not be in our wheelhouse, right? So I know, Chris, I'd sent you a couple of emails, and I know we're really not supposed to discuss things, right? So how do we distinguish? Do we continue to send those questions to you ahead of meetings, and that, like you did with obviously with the sewer pipe, let us know that that's something that handled outside of our venue? So how do we,
So it's always helpful to send things ahead of time, or once you get you'll get your packet at least a week ahead of time
Right.
in the future. And you are welcome to reach out to staff, whoever that staff member may be. It will likely be Chris, but whoever that project manager is, and ask to even sit down and talk to them before the meeting. And then if there's something that comes up during the meeting that's outside of your purview, we'll let you know that we need to get on track or whatever. But yes, you are welcome to ask questions
right?
ahead of
I
time.
mean, in this particular one, there was noticeable mention about the sewer pipe, right? And that was in there, part of that. So, that's why I asked you a number of questions. Is that, something that we need to be part of? And obviously it didn't. Well, I say obviously, unobviously it didn't, but it was part of that packet. So, get me?
I understand, and you'll get the hang of it. We'll get you through it. It just take a couple. The tough part about this board is, luckily, you don't meet all that. You don't have to meet every month because we don't always have variance or special exception requests. But we are seeing more, and we will likely see additional ones after the new code is even adopted. So, but staff was here to help you work through all that.
Any update on the, what you mentioned, Brian, about the what do I want to say here? When we're going to get together as far as the
Training.
the training, thank you.
No update. Yesterday we had a workshop with Planning Commission and City Council to discuss some various things. And unfortunately, that was not one of the things we talked about. But now that we're through this meeting and that meeting yesterday, we can sit back and look at our calendars, and we'll come up with a date to get everybody taken care of. I look forward to it. We can be planner geek for a little while.
And the other members? Are there going to be any other members?
We have 5 people appointed.
Right.
There will be one member that we are preparing a letter for that has not been attending, and so we will be asking them to step down, or Mr. Simbor will be working with that. And we had our 5th member, the other one, was unable to make it
Right,
today.
right.
So I think that we'll be in good shape as soon as we get that 5th one reappointed, and Mr. Simbor is well aware of it, and we'll keep council informed. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll sit down and figure out my Robert's Rules of Order again. Oh, good, thank you.
Well, it's a pleasure to call for a motion to adjourn.
Call for a motion to adjourn. Aye.
Thank you.
Ay, ay, ay. Ay, no.
Somebody needs to be back here on Thursday night. Here.